Hello and welcome into a special edition interview from the Red Hawk Broadcasting Club. Joining me today is one of our guidance counselors here at Monroe High School, Michael Englehard, and he is running in the Paris Olympics this summer. Mike, why do you want to run at the Olympics?
So I ran track in middle school, ran cross country, high school, middle school. So always was a dream of mine to run at the Olympics, just like any runner. So this is my chance to actually go and be part of the Olympics this year.
And it's not like regular track, it's a 10K?
Yep, so this race will be a 10K, 6.2 miles.
That's 6.2 miles more than I ever want to run. So is it your first time going to Paris?
This is my second time going to Paris.
Okay, so do you have any plans on what you're going to do during your time there this time around?
So my wife and my two daughters will be going with me. So we'll be there for 2 weeks before my race, traveling around France. We are going to be enjoying the Olympic Games as well. So we'll go to a soccer game for the men's and women's, beach volleyball game, seeing the sights around Paris and Carcassonne, Marseille. So travel around around all of France and then making our way back to Paris for the race.
Good deal. So when you have a big race like this, is there anything that you tell yourself to like keep you from not being nervous beforehand, or you're just like, run it?
For the most part, just run it. But I do try to just not kind of weigh myself down on, I got to hit this time. I got to hit this time. I got to hit this time. So I kind of go into it of how am I feeling that day. There are marks that I try to hit and I try to reach times, but for the most part, I'm in it for the fun of it.
Gotcha. So I'm assuming it's your first time running as a part of the Olympics. How are you feeling about it?
Oh, excited. This is going to be amazing.
Is this your first time racing outside the country?
No. So I did a 10K on the Great Wall of China. I've done a half marathon over Victoria Falls in Africa. I've done a 12K through the rainforest in Australia. And then I've done races in Mexico and throughout the United States as well.
So Australia, Africa, how many continents have you not raced on yet?
After Paris, it'll just be South America and Antarctica.
If anybody ever runs on Antarctica, they're gonna not love themselves for very much longer. So how old are you?
Right now, 34.
34. So what motivates you to keep on running as you keep getting...
So in high school, I was a sprinter, hurdler. Unfortunately, after high school and college, you have to be a distance runner because there is no short races anymore. So now it's more of the challenge of knowing my body could still do it and pushing myself to continue running for as long as I can.
So outside of your long, no pun intended, track record of running, with your job here, real quick, just explain to me, what made you want to become a school counselor?
So when I was in high school, I had a school counselor, kind of told him my plans of going to North Carolina for school, wanted to do psychology, wanted to do art, and the schools that they gave me were all in New York. So didn't really help. So I had a bad experience with my counselor where they weren't really helpful. So I wanted to get into the counseling role to work with students so that they would not have an experience that I had.
I feel like if there's a common denominator with people getting into teaching or like just working in education, it's probably because they had a nightmare scenario when they were coming up and they don't want that to happen to anybody else.
Yep.
So that's one I definitely feel along with you there. So all of the colleges that they recommended to you were outside of North Carolina. Where'd you end up going to college?
East Carolina University.
The Pirates. Purple Pirates.
Yep.
So was this your first counseling job after college, or have you been to a couple different schools?
No, so After I got my master's degree in counseling at ECU, I got a job at an elementary school there, transitioned to a middle school for a few years, and then me and my wife, we moved to Charlotte, the Charlotte area. Got a job at an elementary school, middle school, and then made my way down to Monroe. This is my 5th year here at Monroe.
And how do you feel about being a counselor here in comparison to those other schools you've worked at?
So I love it here. Working with the kids, especially now that I'm involved in the Health Science Academy and kind of helping those kids. My wife is a nurse and kind of helping those kids find that pathway into the health science career.
So looping back just a little bit, when you talked about you had a terrible counselor and you don't want people to have to deal with that, is there any advice that you heard, maybe not necessarily from your counselor, but like when you were high school age, did anybody give you advice that you now find yourself telling other students today?
So I can't think of specifics, but I'm sure that there are, because I was not the greatest student in high school. Now, when I got to college, I turned things around and really got into it. But academics, and I was more of the goofball and playing around. So I'm definitely telling the students now some of the things that I probably would have told myself back when I was in high school.
I feel like and most people aren't going to admit it like you or me, but I feel like most teachers were not good students.
Mm-hmm.
We know the little tricks, we know the little sneak around stuff because we wrote the book on it.
Oh yeah,
that's how that. I feel like that's how that normally works.
There's plenty of shenanigans.
Always shenanigans. But thank you guys for listening into this. Everything that you've seen today, it was done in my 3rd period video class. So every camera operator, the director, our audio coordinator, they're going to edit this up, and you guys, the one that you'll see is the one that I feel like did the best job at getting everything edited up and cut up. So thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, let me know that you like it. And thank you for supporting this high school studio. We appreciate y'all.